I need another ladder.
What's not
So
working afterwards, right?
Jason's actually already got a bit of a wiring loom to sort, but there's some really neat features in this setup, Brendan. Of course, supercharger like yours, with that bypass, yeah. And you see over there, there's some speaker wire. See, there's some green speaker wire by your hands right there. Okay, that comes from the cabin. See this wire here?
Is that not for speakers?
No, because you want speakers mounted at the front. So it comes here. See how it comes here, and it comes around the battery, and then it goes down there and back on the chassis rail to the crank angle sensor. You like that? That's crank angle sensor wiring. Yeah, goes all the way, because maybe they put the wiring into the engine and forgot the crank angle sensor wiring or something, and then they put that in it.
Or it had a fault.
Yes. Nice airbox, which is great, but it actually, if the wind blows correctly, it fills up with water. And they cut out the power steer reservoir. They cut out the side of the box for the power steer reservoir. You can't actually take the cap off the power steer reservoir with the lid on. So I think we probably should remote that, eh? And there's room back here. I think we should put a remote one back there, so you can actually check your power steer fluid without taking your airbox to pieces. And it's got the dual fuel pressure regulator, so you have the one here and you have the one over there. You want the two fuel pressure regulators. It's very, very important.
You could have a rising rate one.
Your rising rate and the standard one. Really clever. Radiator's probably the end of its life.
A bit of tank anyway.
So that tank's going to get replaced because that's going to explode. Put some heat up that. And I think we're probably, yeah, I'm not sure what to do with all this wiring down here. It's a bit of a mish to sort all that out, but...
Oh, and you put a tacho in. It's too hard to get the factory tacho work.
And that isn't even accurate, is it, that tacho? Or is it that one accurate?
I don't know.
Well, we'll see about that.
But it won't start now.
No. And once it got hot, it wouldn't start. So you'd drive it, and you'd stall it when it was hot, and it wouldn't restart.
And like when we say stall it, it wouldn't be you that stalled, it'd just stall. Just like depending if we're running and stopping.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the wiring loom that normally sits down further is...
Oh yeah, it's variably mounted.
And I can't hang on to that. How long has it been going for?
A few minutes.
And I can't hang on to that wiring loom.
Like your fuel pump wiring. Yeah, so that's coming out as well. We've got to decipher all these random relays and stuff through here. So basically what we're going to do, here's the plan. Jason's going to take all this off.
Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it forward a bit. And the young fella's going to drag the water blast around, and we're going to water blast the engine bay.
And then he's going to take the
Then we'll pull it apart.
He's going to take it apart, and he's going to put like an air temp sensor under the supercharger. So you're measuring the compressed air, not the external air, where it's going into the supercharger.
Are you running both?
We will be running two, yes. He's got two
Are we
in
going to put the
there.
water meth on it?
I wasn't planning water meth, no.
I reckon... It's alright, fiddle with it.
But we are going to get... we are going to get rid of the external crank angle sensor
No,
wire.
I'm going to leave that in there.
You've got to get rid of that feature. And probably, I don't know about the silicon. Silicon's on these is often the way it's done, but probably without that much silicon. Neatly and tidily. So Old Yellow's going to get supercharged.
Can't really stress those bearings out.
Yeah. Well, at least you can check it all on the bench and check it all mounts up nicely. Basically just get rid of some crap and make it nice. Out is going the present ECU and in is going another one.
What's in it now?
Mega Squirt, MS2. Oh, actually it might only be MS1.
Then I grab the water blaster.
Really early Mega Squirt.
Around here.
That's coming out. And it's getting G4X Storm. So sequential injection, individual coils.
The hose is around
Nice,
the side.
nice, eh?
Just straight around. You might have to join
Yeah.
two hoses together.
That'll make it a really nice truck, that.
You're going to make it a much nicer truck, yep. Tidy up that throttle body, sort some stuff out. Nice wiring loom. Yeah, there's water hoses. Where's this one? Has that one actually even got water on the other side of it?
No, that's the old water going through the throttle body.
But it's not connected. It's anything. And then this one isn't
No, it's just got a bolt in it.
my favourite, eh? You know how much I like that. Alright. I'll see you at the other end, eh?
See me at the other end.
When are we doing an update? Tomorrow? Next day?
Let's see how
When
long-
you've got it apart?
Let's get it apart first. Let's get it.
When we find something interesting, when you've got it apart?
You'll have the supercharger and everything off tomorrow. And then let manifold.
Yeah, he'll be dug right down to the starter motor to run your wires.
Wonder what?
We're gonna go to a clean. We get rid of all fucking.
See, I can actually pull my fuel rails out without taking the supercharger off.
Yeah, this one you can't. Oh, we got big injectors for it too. I got some RX-8 injectors, 440cc. And we probably should check the fuel pump.
Just because while we're doing it.
Well, we'll soon see. We don't know anything about it, so
Which regulator are you going to go test off?
probably not the factory one. Seeing it's got an aftermarket one, we'll probably set it up for that aftermarket one properly and make advantage of it. You know, it kind of makes sense.
At least
So,
they mounted it.
yep, we'll get rid of the factory one. Right, Jace. Talk to you when you've got some progress, because it's a whole lot of fun.
Might be me, but I think the belt. Pull it this way to take the belt off. Can't. So the belt's a bit short, I think. It should be lined up with those marks there. That's gonna be fun to get off.
Someone spent heaps of time on this manifold, eh? Heaps of time.
Yeah, really.
At some point, did the cold start injector go through the side? Did they have it going through here?
Maybe use a hole for it.
And then they moved it to the bottom. And then it wasn't wide anyway, but is that going to be a suitable place for our air temp sensor?
There's a whole lot of holes there. You're supposed to just weld them up.
We've got to put something in there, and that comes basically where the charger pushes down, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's charged here.
Oh, it's actually got an O-ring in here. So someone's really spent some time on that. What's happening here?
First screw comes through, I think.
Oh, so the screw comes down and stuffs the O-ring out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's where the supercharger bolt's on.
Okay, so we need to sort that issue, because there's kind of no point having
One there and one there.
a supercharger come down and wrecks your seal. Mind you, silicon's out here, so.
That's what, that washer that was in there? When your bolt's too long, you just put 3 washers under it.
Oh, right, that was the washery thing.
The bolt's too long, you put 3 spring washers under it. So it's never coming undone.
Right, excellent, 3 spring washers.
Yep. Shorter bolt, probably.
So we got to decipher all of that wiring somehow. We might need a cam sensor, Jace, because it's just been cut off. Don't worry about the others. The one that we don't need is complete.
So probably need to put a crank trigger wheel on it too.
Yeah, pull the front down. Put a crank wheel on it. We've got the knock sensor studs for it. I love the nuts. My favourite. Just I put a hose with a bolt stuck in it. Got to do those.
I just noticed the pink antifreeze in the belly. On that side. I can't see this side, obviously.
It has been seeing some pink antifreeze down there,
I
eh?
wonder if it might have been from that. From this fucking thing here. No, from your hose, it's
From the hose?
got a bulk.
We've definitely had a leakage there, haven't we?
There's a little bit of leak at the back there, by the looks of it. By the
You're-
heater hose.
Yeah, you're going to pull a crank. You're going to pull a front and rear off it anyway. Pull these housings off. The gaskets will need to be done. That's getting sorted in the normal style. Blanking these properly. It's had rotors, which we're not using.
Yeah, it had new caps too.
Check that starter. Hopefully we can dissect the four-wheel drive wiring out of this, so it's not integrated anywhere with our loom. And you still haven't pulled out the crank sensor wiring. The remote. Green stuff, right there. Pull that power steer pump off for us too, and we'll have a look at that, because it looks like it's leaking.
You can't, the gearboxes.
You can't take the power steer pump off because there's an airbox in the way. I know. Isn't that cool? I really think we'll put a remote reservoir on it. I'm sure I've got one. We'll just mount it between the airbox and the brake booster so you can actually work on it.
No. What did you do that for?
And can we get the tapper covers off?
Maybe.
Because it really needs some tapper cover gaskets. Did you take the bolt out?
Yeah, I thought it was the cover, but I couldn't see. The beams a bit short and all. I thought it was the bolt on there.
Yep.
Yeah. The cover.
You just reached in and hit a 10 mil and undid it.
I was like, oh, that was the wrong one.
Righto. I think your day's sorted. I think you're in there for the day. Just to get it a little bit sorted. Another day of pulling it apart, getting it down.
I'm too scared to pull apart anymore.
What else you'll find? Yeah, because the ugliness just keeps on going. They spend a lot of time putting all that ugly in there. How's the charger? Is the charger actually fairly smooth?
It's a hard life.
No, that's smooth as.
Yeah, the rotors are a hard life though.
Oh yeah, they've got a bit ugly. They don't feel like they've got too much clatter on them.
No, if you flick it over and have a look on it.
Alright, we'll do that later on.
That plate took quite a bit to get off. They used a fair amount of silicone.
Yeah, that O-ring's really a really cool idea, eh? Until it gets to that point there, when it's just useless. And then that one, directly into that where that O-ring sits. And the O-ring's actually been sealing nicely, really nice seal, and then the silicones are back up. But that's just dumb. They needed to move the O-ring out one width, because it would have fitted through here, wouldn't it?
Well, no, what do we? Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. If they had bought it out by these holes.
We're even doing like this. All right.
Oh yeah, wiggly. Yeah.
All right. This is just it's just O-ring stock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of seems a little bit of like a restrictive manifold though.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Just that big hump in the middle of it.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's times like this I'd really like EGTs in every single cylinder. Awesome. What have you got there, Levi?
Power steering pump.
A sure sign that it's leaking. It's dirty and it's yucky. And hopefully it can be fixed before it's totally stuffed. Right, we'll put that on our list. Oh! Now, I was just explaining that we need to keep an eye, when we're doing jobs like this, keep an eye out on everything else around where we're working. Here's the brake booster, or the brake booster line, goes down, and they've still got the bottle down the side, so it's got the one-way valve. We had one yesterday, no one-way valve. Coming into here, here's the alternator wiring. There's the solder joint. So we've actually got exposed wires going down to the alternator right there. And there's no way we're going to fit a wire capable of flowing 100 amps in that size. And that is part of this front loom. It comes up to here. It runs right across. Where's the alternator fuse on one of these? It's here, eh?
It's glove plug fuse.
That one there. Somewhere in here.
It's glove plug.
Yep.
This one.
Somewhere in here there is the alternator wiring, and it's not big enough. So it's really lucky that he hasn't had a flat battery at any time. Really flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're lucky. The battery was flat.
The battery was flat.
So this wire,
The green wire. Yes.
green wire, starts in there.
That's the tray. Goes into the trailer plug. That's the under bonnet trailer plug.
Yep. Right.
This comes out to there, right?
Comes out to here. So you plug this into here.
Yes.
It goes to this red wire,
Cool.
which comes back into this wire and comes into
It's the black wire.
one of those wires.
It's the black wire.
But I think it's the power feed because there's a
But it's the black wire. The problem is the black wire.
it's the back wire.
Where's the join in this one? Because we've got colours here.
I'd say here.
You reckon where it's like slightly larger?
Yeah.
We'll get Levi to pull that
And
tape
we've
off
got-
that, eh? We'll have a look.
This is our taco.
Which came into this plug, which goes through.
It comes into this plug, which I
That's the one that ran across the. Wait a minute, but you've still got a firewall plug wire. What's your black wire running across the firewall?
Well, that one goes into the kick panel down by the fuse box, which comes into here. I haven't pulled this apart to look to find out where it goes, but I
So
think
that goes into four-wheel drive wiring.
yeah. So you've got your this and that green wire comes off these wires here. It's tapped into these wires, which go in there as well.
Oh.
Which goes into the
Oh.
But you've got this one here. So you've got these two wires here, oil pressure and water temp.
Yes.
So I've made that come into there, which when it plugged into.
Somewhere there. So that's your oil pressure, oil temp. Okay, that goes to the dash. That's
Oh,
good.
no, that was a separate loom. It went into here.
Oh, that's that loop.
Is this loom? This went
Comes
down,
through that
so
plug again.
That went down to the pressure center unit, and that one comes through there, and then goes to the water temp. Then if you come inside,
Oh, what we should have done, we should have checked fuel flow before we pulled it apart.
oh, we can do that.
We can do that.
Yeah, yeah.
We can do that. Apparently,
Because
we can do that. We can't normally. Yeah, so we've got the wire through the glove box. I've already seen that wire,
no.
so you can't remove the glove box.
So you got this. It's got this relay. So what you do is you put this relay up here. You tuck it up here.
Okay.
Like all the way up in there.
Yes.
Then which goes into this wire, into here. And you follow this wire back. Follow this wire back. This one here. Follow this one back.
Yep.
Go. Come with me. Come on, walk.
Jeez.
Comes out. Here.
The rear bumper. Yeah.
That one. So here. And it goes around to the other side. And it goes around up into the top of the fuel tank.
Okay. Is that power and earth, or is it just power?
Oh, I don't know. On the earth I think the earth is this one here. The earth, your fuel pump up here.
You earth your fuel pump to your dash.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's fuel pump.
So that's our fuel pump earth.
Yeah.
By the radio.
Yeah. And I think if we supply some power and turn the key on, the fuel pump will go.
Okay.
Because that comes from all the wiring that's out the front there. See these wires here?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's if you turn the key on, you supply power.
Okay. That's not attached anymore.
Yeah.
These are your green wires. These are crank triggers.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Okay.
The boost gauge has no wire to it. It just has a thing.
Oh, the boost gauge has just got a vacuum line.
The other black wire that goes down to the kick panel and into here, into this plug here.
They've been everywhere, eh?
Plugs into there.
They've been everywhere. Okay.
And I'm pretty sure this is spotlights. There's little lights in the bumper. Little round lights.
Well, we really needed those spotlights to go through the back of our glove box, and so you can't take it out. Trace it, find it, change it, sort it, fix it.
Lunch.
What do we got? This wiring isn't going to be big enough for a decent sized fuel pump anyway. There's more relays here.
You don't know what.
And this one here with the red wire, that's an earth.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure goes down to the spotlights.
That red wire there, that's the earth wire. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Oh, cool. Oh,
That's alternator wiring.
Choice.
You've taken the intake, you've pulled lots of engine apart.
Yeah.
We don't actually have anything going down around the back of that engine now, eh? Oh, we've got the coil wiring coming in. From the back or the front? You came through the front, eh? Spares. Okay, cool. And this, you think that's going to work for as a power steer reservoir?
I haven't looked at it. Maybe.
The alternator has been replaced, but then it's got tiny wiring and a leaking power steer pump above it. That makes a whole lot of sense. Okay.
And there's a whole lot of stereo wiring in underneath the carpet at the back.
That's not on our list.
I know, but it's there.
Okay.
I only found it because I was tracing that was what I think it is.
If you
So this, yeah, that's
if
that
you
wiring.
take this line, feed it straight into the fuel pressure egg, and you power the fuel pump and measure the watts coming out of the return, we can see how grunty the fuel pump is and see if we need to address that issue as well. And then we can test it so we know that it's going to be good. Because this is going to need lots of fuel. How was that again? It builds up the pressure and then goes, how, Jace? So it wasn't very good then.
No.
You hold that. I'll go inside. You ready?
Yep.
On 30 seconds or 20 seconds?
Oh.
Ready?
Yep.
Can we, how much blood? Like, that's a serious prostate problem. Oh, I wonder what? It didn't go very well.
Ah.
Oh. Yeah, and that's what pressure?
Just 58 psi.
58, 4 bar. We're coming up to our 30 seconds. There you go.
Yeah.
And we have from it's not even 300 mils. It's like 280 mils, and that was with the fuel that we.
300 becomes 600. 36 litres an hour. Probably not enough.
I'm surprised this motor has not exploded.
Probably explains why it was so gutless.
Yeah.
And then some.
I'm surprised this motor hasn't exploded.
Should we do a compression test on it? We're going to pull the tabber covers off, and we're going to pull the plugs out. We'll have a look at them, see what they actually are. Because I want to know that it sounded okay.
Yeah.
It sounded like it was on all right.
Yeah, it sounded
It sounded okay. So,
And it did.
Jace, there's a new starter motor in there. What'd you put a new starter motor in for?
So I don't like swimming.
Because I don't like swimming. Why was it swimming?
Maybe.
Possibly like this.
The tide line in there.
Yeah. So that starter motor's been sitting in antifreeze due to a leak. So we searched for the leak, and this is what we found. Can you hold that, Leroy? So if we look in here, O-ring covered in silicon, and if we actually dig in here, there's the end of the O-ring. Can I do it? There's the end of the O-ring there. It was actually broken off and sitting back behind where it should be and leaking coolant through there. Hence it filled up the valley, stuffed the starter motor. Tappet covers are done, new tappet cover gaskets, and we're going to fit a different trigger wheel. And slowly the wiring is being deciphered and taken out of the vehicle. Some mysteries explained. So here we've got the wires that went to the oil pressure and water temp gauge. And they've been tapped in behind this plug. And this plug had all the power supplies and bits and pieces for the factory 1kz, because this was a 1kz vehicle. And these ones went down to the gearbox, the transfer case. They came along here. Now, one of our last mystery wires is this black wire here. So it goes into this wire here, and it's black. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's not black red, is it? It's red black. It's red black. And it goes into this wire here, and it goes across the firewall. And then it goes behind the booster into the cabin. It comes in the cabin here. And it comes in here, and it connected into this wire here in the rear loom. And again, it's red black. Now red black is commonly a reverse light. So I actually connected it, I pinned it into the back into the return, into itself, into what was cut off. And the cut off wire was right up in there. I'm back here. So I did some quick searches, and I've got a red black wire right here, which happens to be the reverse lights. So when they wired this, they ran a wire across there and across there to get to the reverse lights, which are come up here. Well, they may have cut that wire. It'll be in here. There it is, black red. And instead of just connecting it here, they ran extra wires inside. Which seems to be a similar, well, seems to be a reoccurring trend on this vehicle of wiring like that. We've cut most of the crap out. We're left with mainly the factory stuff. This is the glow plug relay, and for some reason that was powered up. So I'm not sure what they were running, if they had a power feed, or they were using that for a power feed for something. This one. So we've got black red here. This time it's black red. Oh, it's actually doing something. Goes into those two. Which go down this one. Into this one. Yellow red. Which then goes into the factory loom. We're actually using that relay possibly to power something in the Mega Squirt loom. We might have to do a little bit of exploring this one to work out what they're actually doing. And then we'll throw that in the bin. You'll see there's some new knock sensors in there. So we're mocking up the loom for them. And our common way we do it in Raychem, up to a 4-pin or 3-pin Deutsch plug at the back. Because we're running the wideband sensors on this one, we're going to run the 4-pin. New starter motor, again because of that tide mark. There's the tide mark up there. You can see the old antifreeze. It's been sitting in that valley. And all these gaskets are replaced as per normal. You can see what happens with these gaskets. They get a bit of corrosion, and then the rubbering falls out of them, you see. So they're laminated, steel laminate with rubber, but no corrosion inhibitor in the coolant at some point, and they rot out, and then they leak. Of course, it wasn't the leak in the middle, it was in here, the O-ring in here, which now there's silicon all through here. So somehow we need to get all that silicon out of the back of that water pump, so it'll actually seal up, again creating us another problem. We just put a new cam belt on it just to be on the safe side. I didn't know anything about the old one. We still use the tensioners and idlers at this stage. Work on this is progressing really well. There's lots of activity, and we're still in the process of kind of working out where everything went. The black wire for the reverse lights was one of the last mysteries. There's going to be, we even took the tacho out in this stage. It was just sort of sitting on the dash. The wiring to it's ugly. We're going to start again so we know that it's good. And some of the front wiring looms, just ugly. We're going to sort that, and of course new alternator wiring. So quite a bit just to get it back to a stage that it's ready to have the aftermarket ECU fitted to it. So you kind of had to squeeze the filter in to make it actually work. There you go. It's going to come now. Go get it. Oh yeah. It's actually... Yep, press it hammer. We'll just remove it this way. Can you wiggle that filter now? Look out, filter's coming down. There you go. And now you can take the housing off. Look at, we'll fit.
Yes.
Here you go. We're thinking about using this one. We're thinking about using that one. So that one, Ollie.
Did you know there's a mat you can lay on? Something like that thing there.
I just dry my clean hand.
Dry your
That's why we
hands.
got the young fellas. That's why we put them down in the dirt. Yeah. That's their job. We found any more wires. There we go, extra wires. That was four-wheel drive, the front hubs and the shocks. So we're going to put the young fella on to carefully removing those. And I remember these now. That's your alternator wiring, and it goes that way. I think Jay's just split just here, and I'm sure that that goes right through the cabin, does the loop of the cabin and comes out that side. Yeah.
That's the way it goes, you just snip and then...
No, but we're still going to get alternated to the battery.
We'll make a new cable that goes from there to here.
Yeah, we're going to. So if we doesn't look like we've done a whole lot in here, but there's been a heap of work done. We've got main power lines. We've got alternator that's been cut to pieces. Jason's run a new power feed down to it with a big cable running around the front of the vehicle, and it runs over to a fuse unit over there. The original one that goes down to the alternator, which actually feeds through the cabin, we've just terminated there. And the other end comes from the fuse unit over here. I think we've deciphered all the body wiring. We've done some cool stuff, like found a fuel filter. There we go. That was the fuel filter for this one. And this is the joys of conversions, that you get a fuel filter. Fortunately, this one had a part number on it, so finding the correct parts can be tricky. We were lucky on this one, it was nice and simple, but it's some of the stuff that we sort of have to go through. There's a heap of injectors here, and I don't know how they weren't leaking. These are the standard size. It's had some O-rings put on the top that were too big. The cushions are just falling to pieces. These really aren't big enough to do the supercharger with what we're trying to achieve. If you reach any sort of power levels, the stock injectors are going to run out real fast. So gone are the standard injectors, and it's gone is the right hand cam sensor. The left hand one had been cut off, which was the one we needed. So new one fitted, new trigger wheel fitted, new oil filter housing fitted, so you could actually get the oil filter off the vehicle. Oh, Jason's had that loom out for testing, hasn't he? Over here, you'll see there's the fuel rails and there's the new injectors. So it's getting a set of RX-8 injectors. Now, the laws of physics apply to engines, and the standard injectors, if you actually start making good power, will run out of fuel really quick. Hey Jace,
Yeah?
if if I take an NA engine and I add 1 bar of boost pressure, so I work into the second atmosphere, how much more power will it make?
Twice as much.
Twice as much.
Oh.
And how much more fuel will it use?
Twice as much.
Oh! And this is
asking me this, I know this.
and so when you see guys who said they've got their standard injectors making massive power, you know that it doesn't work, because horsepower is a derivative of how much air you can shove into that engine. The more air you put in, you give it the other supporting mods, the more power it will make. Yeah, it won't go without the crank sensor. There's one in that box right there, in my seal box. As you can see, Old Yeller has received the pressure improvement device, enhancement device, while Jason customs up this loom. He'd actually already got it already, he'd sized it based on measurements and bits and pieces, but with this sort of setup, because it's all kind of custom and everything's kind of a little bit different, we then pop it onto Old Yeller, size it, cover it, make it all good. We've chosen Raychem solely for its resistant to the heat, because we make more power, we make more heat. He set up an idle speed control unit, which will be buzzed on. He'll tidy up the block, and he's removed the extra fuel pressure regulator. We'll see if this mod's going to work, or we need to put some braid or something else on there yet, because we're very close to TPS and again, all the stuff we sort hopefully on the bench stage before it gets into the vehicle. We've got the individual coils going to the leads. This will give better spark, more reliability. There's extra sensors getting added. Originally we were expecting to put a fuel pressure sensor in there. And as you can see, it would have hit stuff. And that's why we do the final setup on the engine like this, rather than just off measurement, so we can actually see if there's going to be anything that clashes.
Fuse wide at the front of the motor.
Looks good. This is Old Yeller's first attempt at boost. Here we go, we'll blow some in. Woo!
Might have actually, old Vice Grip Garage would be proud of me.
Vice Grip Garage.
Old Derek from Vice Grip Garage. I don't know if he watches this channel, but he'd be quite proud of the mounting system.
Yep. These are Dave's.
Dave's.
Dave Jones.
Oh, hey Dave.
I found them in his surf. I'll admit it, they're Dave's. Yep.
Well, he comes back and you can claim them back.
Dave, if you want your Vice Grips back, just give me a text, I'll send them back. We got the funny manifold on there. Kind of see what they've done there now with the box for the starter motor and stuff. There is an air temp sensor mounted under there as well. So we've actually got...
Well, actually a bit of wire. Hang on.
That'll be this one? Oh, that's that bit of wire.
Yeah, it's probably a bit long.
It is, yep. So we
Didn't know how long to make it, so I made this one.
Instead of just pushing a sensor in here into a vacuum port with just a rubber grommet, we're going to weld that hole up. We're putting a temp sensor in here somewhere. Oh, Jason's put it over here. That'll be that one.
I'm going to modify this a bit, trim that down.
Oh, yes. And it'll be the one underneath here that we'll use for the tuning purposes. This is quite nice how the PCV line actually fits, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And the bypass valve's nice as well. Not that this makes any boosted idle anyway. Jason's doing the last of the wires into the ECU. There's the Storm. It's a Storm X. It's going to go on this engine. We're going to call this one a day. We'll come back to you when we're fitting it all up, making it all run.